So, disparity doesn't mean depravity? Coming right up. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Common Sense Logical Reason. And as always, I want to say thank y'all for joining me today. So, if you ask any black person, or basically any black victim, for any evidence of racism, they're not going to be able to cite any type of law. There's not going to be any law that they're going to be able to point to as evidence of racism here in America or pretty much anywhere, for the most part. And we were talking about homogenized, we're not talking homogenized countries, say, Japan or something. I'm talking about westernized country where you have most integration because people are moving to these countries. But there are no laws that are against black people. So oftentimes what they have to do, or pretty much all the time, they have to resort to disparities. They have to bring up disparities as evidence. Any area in society in which black people are lagging behind white folks, not equal to white folks on something, because obviously, it's like saying America's nothing but black and white, right? But anytime, any area in society in which black people are not on par with white folks, they use that as evidence of racism. But here's the problem with that, though. The problem is that disparity doesn't mean depravity. In other words, just because there's a disparity somewhere in society doesn't mean that the disparity exists because some depraved group of people directed it. Sometimes disparities exist for legitimate reasons, And to this, I like to use the fitness analogy. Let's say that you have three people, person A, person B, and person C, of no particular age, no particular race, or no particular gender. Just three human beings right now. Let's say person A is heavy into fitness. They're what you call the gym rat. They work out 6 days a week. They take supplements, they count calories, they know about nutrition, they study nutrition, they do intermittent fasting, all these other things. And then you have person C. Now, person B. Person B may work out 2 to 3 times a week and occasionally may watch what they eat, but not as serious about it as person A. And then you have person C. Person C just eating, and basically does nothing but lay around and eat all day, doesn't have a very active lifestyle. Now, which one of these people are going to be more physically fit? Obviously, it's going to be person A. And which one of these people are going to be probably more likely to be the least fit? Well, that obviously would be person C. Is it because of racism? Is it because of any laws? Is it because of any type of system? No. It's because of behavior. Each one of these people are going to have different levels of fitness because of the behavior and the free will decision that they're making. Not because of somebody's forcing them to do it or because of somebody putting a gun to their head. It's because of their choices that they make. Right? Person B and person C can do what person A is doing. It will be and more than likely will be just as physically fit and eventually become just as physically fit as person A. But they choose not to. Again, this is a behavior. The problem with disparities in closing is that disparities only tell us what exists. They don't tell you how we got there. And how we got there is the evidence. The why is not the evidence. The how is the evidence. Okay? Just because a disparity exists doesn't mean that it was white supremacy that created the disparity. Just because there's an income gap between black people and white people doesn't mean it was no damn white supremacy created that income gap. I always say this, Indian Americans have the highest income per capita in America than any other group. And again, when I say Indian Americans, I'm not talking about Native Americans. I'm talking about basically people who are of Indian descent from the country of India, who migrated and moved to America. They have the highest income per capita. Okay, because they make the choices to do so, not because no white supremacy. And if black people were to mimic what Indians are doing, then black people will have some of the highest income per capita in America. So it's not about no system. It's about choices and behavior. This is why whenever you hear black people bring up disparities, you know it's a joke. Because as I said, a disparity doesn't prove anything. All it does is just tell us what exists. So anytime you have, if any one of these black people, they start citing disparities as evidence of racism, make sure you get them to prove to you how, not just the what. And their arguments are going to fall apart because they have no why. This is why they have to resort to disparities. Anyway, like I said, this is my 2 cents on this. And I put out these videos to try to inform people, and mostly to and basically arm you to be able to destroy woke nonsense from the left, and especially the nonsense coming from black, because the only way that black folks are going to get any better if we destroy black victimhood. And you have to be armed with the knowledge in order to be able to do so. So that's why I put these videos out. I hope everybody, anyone who watches this video, you educate yourself so that you can learn how to destroy this nonsense. If you really truly care about the betterment of black people, because I don't see how these black leftists do and these racists do, because they're not doing anything that's going to better black people by constantly perpetuating victimhood. Anyway, y'all, as I said, disparity does not mean depravity, and just because there's a disparity doesn't mean that there was depravity that created the disparity. Sometimes disparities exist for legitimate reasons. And as always, y'all, until next time.